Thank you for downloading the BBQ Central Show. The BBQ Central Show is supported in part by these great sponsors. The BBQ Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices and barbecue pits. Their website is thebbqguru.com. Also, Butcher Barbecue, maker of injections, rubs, and sauces. Their website is butcherbbq.com. And by Big Poppa Smokers, your one-stop online shop for anything in the barbecue and grilling industry, to include World Championship winning rubs. Their website, bigpoppasmokers.com. And by Cookshack, maker of pellet and electric cookers. You can visit them at cookshack.com. Also, Chop's Power Injector System. 3 different size injectors to choose from. Find out more at barbecuekansascity.com, and that's barbecue, BARBEQUE. And by Pit Barrel Cooker, one of the most unique and versatile cookers out there on the market. Visit them at pitbarrelcooker.com. And by Smithfield, the biggest name in pork, bringing you great opportunities this barbecue season. Get smoking with Smithfield and their grant program and committed cooks program. Learn more at smokinwithsmithfield.com. And by Green Mountain Grills, some of the finest pellet cookers on the market. Their website, greenmountaingrills.com. Also by Cookin' Pellets, manufacturer of wood pellets to fire wood pellet cookers. Their website is cookinpellets.com. You can also purchase on Amazon.com as well. And finally, by Unknown Barbecue Supply, makers of lid hinges, chimney grillers, and much more. You can visit their website, unknownbbq.com/shop. Use promo code REMPE for 15% off your entire order.
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. We are broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, widely known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on a Tuesday evening. On a Tuesday, but blustery, snowy, windy, witch's tit cold here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. However, we are persevering through a day off of school because it promised to be really bad. And now it's getting really bad at about 9 o'clock Eastern. Otherwise, a smattering of snow, especially if you're used to snow coverings. Nothing like they're getting up there in the northeast section of the country. However, if you would love to get in on the show tonight, let me give you some contact info to do that. Stand by.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter, which was sent out a little bit tardy. That's my bad. Had a lot of stuff going on today, but it did go out nevertheless. Here's what's happening. It is the second Tuesday of the month, halfway through the first, well, we're almost halfway through the last month of the first quarter. The second Tuesday of the month brings a recurring guest, of course, Meathead Goldwyn from AmazingRibs.com. Everybody loves Meathead. They love the second Tuesday of the month. He is the creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website, AmazingRibs.com. And what will he be talking about tonight? Well, a couple weeks ago, Meathead in Paradise took place. So either to his happiness or to his chagrin, we'll be getting a little bit of a recap on that whole production. We'll also be talking a little bit about the HPB Expo, more along the lines of did he hear back from Max Good, who was in attendance, on anything new that might be worthwhile piecing together here while we're on segment time in the show. And then mostly for the two segments, we'll be talking about some things we'll be cramming our face with towards the end of the week, that being brisket and or pastrami and or corned beef, St. Patrick's Day, blackout drunk. Here we go. Hashtag blackout. So that's going to be Meathead, Goldwyn, 9:14 and 9:35. At 10:14, we will revisit with a 2015 Team of the Year title winner. He finished fifth last year overall. And as the pitmaster of Clark Crew Barbecue Team, Travis Clark will be joining me. As I had mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're almost through the first quarter of the year. So 3 months into the competition barbecue season, if you can believe it. So we'll talk to Travis about where that first quarter is lying with him right now, a little bit about his offseason, and then, of course, where the rest of the season, or at least the next 3 months of the season, takes place. We all know it's a 12-month season, more or less, anymore. Amongst some other hot topics that I'll be asking him about that he has no idea that I'm going to be asking him about. So stay tuned for that. Travis Clark, always a great interview, not afraid to tell you what is on his mind or give you his thoughts about the state of the barbecue union, sanctioning bodies, judges, other cooks, flavor profiles, all that good stuff. And then at 9:35, the embedded Texas correspondent, Doug Scheiding, will be joining me to discuss in detail, amongst other things, the Houston Livestock and Rodeo dessert announcement debacle. Did that make national online news, Doug? Like Yahoo, or was that just like local Texas? If you didn't see it, don't ruin it just yet. Wait an hour and change and listen to Doug recount the tale of yet another incredible announcement mistake made right out there in the open, live as it's happening, only to be found out a little too late. Wow. We'll get into some other items with Doug as well, but that will carry the balance of his interview segment. So, there you go. Meathead, Goldwyn coming up here shortly over the next hour. Travis Clark, Clark Crew Barbecue, and at 10:35, Doug Scheiding, embedded Texas correspondent. All right, if you didn't know, the show's live, local late breaking. Please make a Facebook post or a tweet or get on whatever social media platform that you're a fan of, maybe the Instagrams, although they don't allow you to hot link on there. I don't like that. Let everybody know the show's on. A couple different websites to send them to. The main website for audio, the BBQCentralShow.com. The main video syndication partner of the show, although we continue to branch out on the video side. I think I'm either going to need bigger processors and or bigger upload, or as we say in the biz, upstream speeds for my internet service provider, which I have no bigger stream to go up to. I'm happy to spend the money. I've maxed out. OutdoorCookingChannel.com/watch-now is the main video syndication partner. Also, we're streaming live to my personal Facebook page, Greg.Rempe. We're also streaming live to Twitch.tv/BBQ Central Show. And, of course, you can get it on Roku as well, Outdoor Cooking Channel. If you're not familiar with IP television like Roku, they usually have like an app store. So go into there and search for Outdoor Cooking Channel, and if you find it, download it, and then you have not only access to a live stream that Outdoor Cooking Channel provides, but then you have access to the host of video archives. I believe I'm the only show that's actually doing a live show. I do not have it under any good authority, but it appears that Chad Ward has retired from doing a show. Talks about doing a show, but is retired from doing a show. So I believe I'm the only one doing a live weekly show covering the industry of barbecue and grilling right now, at least this week. So pass it around, let everybody know the show's on, and it's going to be great. I got no less than 75 emails last week. I was getting messages as the segment was transpiring, with one Theodore Reader from TedReader.com And I think by and large, the majority of people were like, the segment that you did with Ted Reeder, or for the people that were writing in as the segment was happening, the segment you are doing with Ted Reeder is like instant classic, the best segment ever. If you section this segment out of the show and put it up against any other segment, this one wins. It's a no-brainer. It's internet radio gold, whatever you want to call it. And I have to agree, it was one of the most entertaining, educational, and comedic segments that have ever been aired on this show. We were talking about lamb's testicles, which lends itself to me crafting questions with double entendre, or saying things like balls in your mouth, or what does the balls in your mouth taste like? Things like this. Legitimate questions that need to be asked, but geez, if you're listening to it, you think, what the hell kind of questions am I asking? And I don't know if there was any better guest other than Ted Reeder that would be able to pull off that segment without getting lost in the jokes that may or may not really be happening, or letting your mind drift into some other who knows where it's going to go. But really getting to the crux of the conversation, giving you great information about lamb's testicles, how to prep them, how to season them, the different ways he cooked them, the different flavor profiles he was taking in as he was eating them. The pictures were great. It really was one of the best segments in recent memory. So if you missed it, all of my shows are recorded audibly. They are recorded on the video side. It helps, I guess, if you've never seen lamb's testicles before. It might help you get an idea of, from the aesthetics standpoint, to see it. But in my humble opinion, this show first was an audio-only show first, right? The BBQ Central radio show, which has no video to it. So to me, going back and listening to it on the audio side is absolutely fast. You lose nothing in translation, let's just say that. Perhaps you're even gaining something because your mind is just wandering as we meander through the topic of lamb testicle preparation, cooking, and eating. Ted Reeder, stud. TedReeder.com. All right, folks, if you don't know by now, Big Poppa Smokers is the one-stop shop for anyone interested in barbecue, featuring a comprehensive selection of all American-made grills, spices, sauces, accessories, even a kit that gives you everything you need to make a world-class smoker out of a 55-gallon drum. Big Poppa Smokers has made a name for itself by making an award-winning line of championship rubs. The rubs have won almost every major barbecue competition, period. BPS has also banded together with fellow California-based rub company called Simply Marvelous Barbecue to form what is now well known as the West Coast Offense. Defying conventional wisdom, these two California-based rub makers have cornered the market on competitive barbecue and begun to redefine the flavor profile that cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. They've even created two of their own unique competitions, King of the Smoker, which brings the best of the best in barbecue head-to-head in a back-to-basics competition. King of the Smoker, unique in the fact that contestants only allowed to use charcoal, wood, and their wits to win one of the most high-stakes barbecue competitions. No electric devices such as pellet cookers or pit minders allowed. Thank you. The other competition that Big Poppa Smokers has started is the Guinea Pig. That's a cost-controlled event that helps bring in newcomers to competitive barbecue. It also features prize distribution all the way down to 10th place in each category. That helps provide incentive to get new competitors into the world of competition barbecue and keep the savvy vets that have enjoyed the Guinea Pig as well. On top of all that, they have created the unique brand ambassador program called the BPS Elite Team, featuring 15 of the best teams in the country, working together to promote camaraderie, competition barbecue, and to benefit children's charities across the U.S. Keep in mind, Big Poppa has been able to do this with only about 6 years of being in business, turning the competition barbecue world on its head, creating their own unique competitions, becoming a staple of a nationwide restaurant chain in BJ's Restaurant and Brewhouse, and most importantly, benefiting children's charities across the U.S. Just the beginning for Big Poppa Smokers. Of course, the website, BigPoppaSmokers.com. That's BigPoppaSmokers.com. Sign up for their newsletter because they do unveil great shipping deals, specials on products from time to time. You don't want to miss out. BigPoppaSmokers.com. We're back with Meathead Goldwyn right after this. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. You know what you love to do? You love to barbecue, you love to compete, you love to win, so do all three with help from Smithfield. Since 1938, Smithfield has been producing high-quality, fresh pork products, and now they invite you to get smoking with Smithfield. Are you an organizer of a nonprofit, community, or sanctions barbecue event? Apply for the new grant program that helps competitors get extra resources and prize money, but that's not all. If you compete, you can join the Committed Cooks program. Members who commit to cooking with premium hand-trimmed Smithfield fresh pork receive swag and other great prizes. Find out all about it at SmokingWithSmithfield.com. The second Tuesday of the month brings the creator of the AmazingRibs.com website. We call him Mr. St. Patrick to you, sir. Meathead Goldwyn. Meathead, how are you, buddy?
I'm better now that I'm with you.
What happened last month?
I don't know. I've been on the road for like 5 weeks.
It's like Meathead of old when you were doing the book tour and you were gallivanting all across the country.
I'm still doing that. Well, you know, we had, I bet I was in the Bahamas. You know, we took about 80 members of our Pitmaster Club down to Green Turtle Key in the Bahamas. Brad from Grill Grates has a home there. And he invited us down to celebrate his 10th anniversary. And boy, did we have a blast. We went out on the beach and we cooked pizzas. Went to another beach and cooked burgers and fed the stingrays and the sharks. On a party barge with a DJ.
Gee.
The ladies were dancing the Macarena.
The what?
The Macarena.
Does that still happen? I thought that was out like 20 years ago.
I thought that died with Al Gore.
Must stay down in the Bahamas, I guess.
Oh God, we had a blast though. It was just it's a little island in the Bahamas that you can only reach by boat. Population 500, little old town. It's been there since before the Revolutionary War. British colony in those days. Brad and his wife Susan just know how to throw a party, and the Pitmaster Club members who made it will never forget it.
Now, when you say you invited 80 people down, now I mean you didn't invite, but they had the opportunity to purchase a package to go down and take part in the first meetup of Meathead in Paradise.
Yeah, Brad and I and his team and my team put together a package of events, including we did a steak night. We had Noah from Pit Barrel Cooker, and I and Brad. We cooked steaks 3 different ways, and we just put together 3 days of fun things and put a price tag on it and publicized it through our newsletter and in the Pitmaster Club, and decided to put a cap of about 80, 85 on it, and that's what we got.
So. In the planning stages of this, I'm always interested in behind the scenes more than the actual event itself because I love logistics. Are you trying to figure out, because you are an educator, whether you want to look at yourself as an educator or not?
Oh, I absolutely do. I think of myself as an educator.
Educator, resource center, of course. Brad obviously has the business side with the grill grates and some other products. Were you at moment one trying to figure out a way? I'm trying to figure out the best question to ask here. Was it more of a social gathering with some educational tidbits, or was it a situation where if you can get down there, not only are you going to meet some people that maybe you have an online relationship with in person, but you're also going to get all of this great food and education. We're going to teach you a few things, and you're going to happen to be in a really nice place.
We were thinking of all the above.
Yeah.
I don't think we had as much education as I would have liked, and I think a couple of members said they would have liked to have had some more class-type situations. But it was wall-to-wall party, and there was no question about that. We had a great band, great dancing. So it turned out, one of the neat things about the Pitmaster Club, and for those who don't know about it, we have a special section of our website For $24 a year, you get a forum, a message board, communication system where people exchange recipes, ideas. Somebody named Rempy does a weekly podcast of what's new in the world of barbecue and grilling.
That's the rumor.
Clint Cantwell does a monthly interview with a pitmaster. Just finished up one with Robin. And other cool stuff. We got a cartoonist now.
Yeah, I saw that.
In any case, and we sponsored this event with Brad and invited the members to come. And we're actually planning a sequel, but not in the Bahamas. We're probably going to do it next May or June, late May or June in Memphis. And we'll probably have more educational activities. We'll do it at a hotel where we can have demonstrations, maybe hog butchering, have Professor Blonder come in and do a session, or, try to bring in some really good people to do some education and some demos and have some grills on exhibit and turn this in. We called it a meetup. M-E-A-T, meet, yeah, ha, ha, ha.
Got it.
Bad joke. But it was a lot of fun, and we want to do more of it. There's the National Barbecue Association is for restaurateurs and caterers and competition teams. KCBS has a big event every year for competition teams and their audience, judges. But there's really nothing in the way of a big national convention for consumers. So this was sort of a trial balloon, and it worked, and we'll do it again, and we'll do it in the continental U.S., where you don't need a passport, and airfares will be a little less expensive, and there'll be, chance to meet the people that you meet online face to face.
Would there be a projected cap of number of people, or would it be whoever can come? I mean, it's, when you talk about expositions, then it's like whoever can show up, like an HPB Expo that I attended a couple of weeks ago. I mean, if you could get down there, you could get a ticket, and as many people as you could fit in there, you could fit in there. In this type of a situation, I would imagine it could get potentially out of hand or too big to really glean the bits of information that you might want.
We'll put a cap on it. We're thinking in the neighborhood of 300.
Wow,
I have no idea how many people would come. I don't know what to charge for it yet. I mean, I'm not in it to make a lot of money. What I'm really looking forward to doing is extending the community. The Pitmaster Club has really become a community. You hang out in there. There's like no pissing and moaning. There's no politics. Everybody's self-policing. In 2.5 years since we started it, we have 15,000 members. Mm-hmm. KCBS is around 20,000, so we'll probably catch and pass them in the next year. And it's self-policing. We just try to stick to food. And I think we've only had to kick 2 people off in 2.5 years. So it's a cool place. People have fun. A lot of recipe exchange. Chef Ryan now is compiling a cookbook of the best recipes from our members, all formatted similarly. And he's testing the recipes so that we know that they're all tested recipes. We got all kinds of. If you go to AmazingRibs.com, in the top right-hand corner, there's a button that'll tell you all about the Pitmaster Club.
$24 a year, not expensive. A year, not a month.
Yeah.
My porno subscription is $25 a month. I was, yes.
HPB Home Patio Barbecue Association Expo.
Yeah,
have you talked about that yet? I don't think so. Tell us about it.
I had a couple. Segments that I had broadcast last Tuesday on the show. I left an open segment, but that was my first time at the HPB Expo that's put on by the HPBA. That's a weird thing. It's, whatever. So it was in Atlanta, great place. Love that city. Traffic's a nightmare at all times of the day. Of course, you're used to that being in Chicago. I am not used to that in Cleveland. And for me, it was an easy $225 ticket because Delta flies out of Cleveland. Everything connects to Atlanta, whether you like it or not, so no problem for me. And I was asked to kind of come down with Noah Glanville from Pit Barrel. So he let me kind of crash at the house they were renting, so stays were free. That was great. But I got to kind of re-meet him again in person. He's one of the few I've met in person before. I met him last year in Louisville for volleyball.
He's a special guy, isn't he?
I said last week in the Open that if you don't know who Noah Glanville is, if you just know him because of Pit Barrel, to me, Pit Barrel doesn't even hold a candle to what he has accomplished in his life and the service he has given to this country. It is a much bigger and a much wider breadth of accomplishment what he has done previous to the Pit Barrel cooker that maybe a lot of people don't know about, and it's not my place to really tout and all that stuff. He's a very accomplished, important individual in his service, and I appreciate that about him.
He's got a power boat that he took out to Green Turtle Key and joined us at our little festivities out there.
Yeah.
Brought a couple of his Navy SEAL buddies along with him, and they were hunting lobster and cooking them up for our folks. He brought a Pit Barrel. You're quite a sight.
I don't know if there's any fear in that guy. I mean, he's powering through. When he was showing me some of the return trip back to Florida, powering through like 10-foot waves, and they were just like having it seemed like it was like the best time ever. I would have been hiding in the aft cabin pooping myself.
Yeah. Well, it was a rough day the day they came back. Yeah.
So I got to see him again and meet some people within the Pit Barrel organization. I got to meet Jason Baker from Green Mountain Grills for the very first time in person, and actually went to dinner with him. He had hosted a dinner with one of his Australian distributors and got to meet them. But I got to meet a lot of people that I've either had on the show or that I've known for years. Max was there. I mean, I've met him obviously before, but or reconnect with people that I've already met. And then I got some really good interviews with some companies that were just kind of up and coming, or maybe they were already established and haven't had a channel to have an interview before. I met a really kind of excited I don't know how old he was, but he seemed to be like in his early 20s, coconut charcoal importer that's coming from Indonesia. It's called Cocoa Brick. I don't know if it'll actually make it here or not, but, we'll have to see. But, he was energizing. He was excited. He's ready to bring the product in. And then I have to ask him the question, like, well, how do you plan to compete with Kingsford? And, of course, everything's like, whoa, what do you mean? So, great. There were some really cool products there. Here's the thing that I learned, or what really surprised me the most. You have the originators of or the stalwarts of the industry. You have a Weber. You have Big Green Egg. You have Primo. All these people. I'm telling you, Meathead, and maybe you've seen it before, literally across the aisle, you have the Chinese knockoffs there that are unabashed in showing exactly the same product, but under the... I am not kidding. It was bizarre. Not only was it bizarre, I saw on at least 5 different occasions cease and desist orders served right on the floor.
Oh, no kidding.
And they had to cart. I think the one that stood out the most was the one that looked like the Kamado Joe, and they had to cart that off and put it behind the curtain.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was...
it's a real issue. Brad was telling me that they're knocking off grill grates, and I believe there's been knockoffs of Pit Barrel.
Yes.
Not necessarily overseas. There's an American knockoff.
Yeah.
Dave Parrish told me that the Slow and Sears being knocked off, they're telling me that they think Amazon is funding some of these knockoffs.
Well, there seems to be maybe breaking news, maybe not, but amongst the manufacturers or the people in business of barbecue, there does seem to be a growing contingent that has, let's say, dissatisfaction with Amazon and how they are allowing these things to be just thrown up on Amazon to compete when they are just whole host knockoffs of what the originators are. I mean, you have creative intellectual properties. A lot of these guys have patents on all this, and it's like it doesn't seem to matter. They're just out there in person showing the knockoff, or they're throwing it up on Amazon, and Amazon's letting them. There was kind of a big contingent that was not happy with the way business was being run at this point, and rightly so, I think.
Did you see any cool new grills and smokers? I've been here. Max has this new charbroil that has a thermostat controller. Did you see that? Is that as cool as it sounds?
No, I didn't see that one. I saw a company called Blaze has an all aluminum Kamado style grill. That looked pretty cool, if you can imagine that. There were a lot of, I guess, higher end manufacturers that I'm not aware of that were showcasing, and they were just one more breathtaking than the next one. I mean, and they had to be huge money. They were so nice. The guys that make American Muscle Grill were introducing their new bigger version of the AMG, and that one is, and it's still considerably less than the comparable Kalamazoo. And I was talking with Jeff Strobel, who's the head guy over at Somerset, who's part of they make the AMG line, and he said, there's going to be a company out there that is going to overbuild, and it's going to be X amount, and they're super proud, and they're just going to stick a price tag on. And there's going to be a consumer out there that's going to say, hey, I have this money, and I can spend it, and I bought this grill, and it cost me $20,000 when you could get one for 3 times less that might be engineered a little bit better. Honestly, it was an eye-opening experience for me in many different ways, but the connections that I was able to make and the people I was able to meet, and I have a bunch of different show guests that'll be coming up over the next handful of months. So, I mean, easily the best $250 I ever spent.
Cool.
Yep. Did Max tell you about the green lighter fluid?
No, I have got some strange so-called natural organic lighter fluids that I've been playing with. I wonder what this one is.
This one is from a company called Green Life, I think, but it was called like Green Flame is the name of the product. And I think it was born out of some type of a sugar or something along these lines. And
I think a couple of them are alcohol-based.
This one is, I believe, sugar-based, or that's where it was derived from. I don't have alcohol. You're right. Yeah, sugar, alcohol. That's right. But not the kerosene or the methanol or whatever the hell you call it. And it won like top 3 best inventions because they had some KCBS know-it-alls kind of scope out the whole show and then have them pick out 3 of the things that they thought were most standout. One of them was Grill Floss, which is a cleaner to clean your grill grates.
Like Grill Floss.
Yep. And then one of them was this Green Flame and they were doing side-by-side comparisons in the burn area with a petroleum-based lighter fluid and then the Green Flame. So you could, taste the difference, and overwhelmingly, it was positive. That guy just happens to live.
Did you taste the difference?
No, I didn't even go down to the burn area because logistically, it was like 8 blocks away from where the whole thing was. Like, how stupid is that?
Hey, for listeners out there, Grill Floss is a cool product.
Yep.
I have a review of it on my grill cleaning page, but it's a kind of like a hook that you scrub your grill grates with, and it goes above and below, so you can get the scum that hangs from the underside as well as the top. You do one rung at a time, so it's a little time-consuming, but it's a good tool.
And it seems to be garnering a lot of great attention, not overly expensive, by the way.
It's been out for years.
Yeah, and the only thing that it can't do, and I know I don't know what the exact number is, and Brad Barrett could probably tell me, but as far as like coming into, it doesn't work on the non-round bars.
Right,
yeah,
right.
So,
it's a round bar tool.
But, I mean, that could be something that, they would want to work at, doing something that would clean rails. I mean, that's maybe my biggest complaint about grill grates is, I just feel weird using the flipper to also be my cleaning tool. But that's just me. I have OCD. But, if you could get another tool to clean that off, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
He's got a couple of tools that he sells that do a pretty good job. I've got them both, and they work.
You like them?
Yeah.
All right.
They
cool.
work.
All right, Meathead, we haven't talked anything about St. Patrick's Day or corned beef. It's been all business, so we're going to take a break right here. I'm going to do a little business, and then we'll get back and talk a little bit of corned beef and pastrami. You can talk to me about Katz's Deli and how it's America's biggest beef smokehouse in the world. All that good stuff. So we're talking with Meathead Goldwyn. Meathead, you stand by, and I will talk to you quickly about Butcher Barbecue. Gang, if you have been thinking about stepping up the barbecue and grilling game, there's no better or easier way than by doing it with a little Butcher Barbecue. I'm boring Meathead, it looks like. Sorry, Meathead. I'll keep it more exciting here in a minute. Here's what you do. You go to the website, butcherbbq.com, and you order all of the products. Guess why? Because they're great products. First of all, you know them most for the injections, right? The pork, the beef, prime injection, bird boosters, the pork, the open pit flavor injections, all good stuff. If you've never injected, don't fall into this trap. Well, I don't compete, so I don't need to inject. Forget about that. If you want to add extra flavor, if you want to put in ingredients so they're going to keep your end product more moist longer, this is something you're going to want to do. Inject flavor deeper, this is something you're going to want to do. Don't think it's just for competitors. It's not. Now, you also have rubs and sauces that you can buy here as well. First, you have those stalwart flagship products, the steak and brisket rub, which I love, also the honey rub, which I'm a huge fan of. Those complement the newer sauces that have been released recently, the chipotle rub, the cherry rub. You have the Dave's triple secret rub, and then you have the pecan rub as well. Not pecan, pecan. You know, if you inject with Butcher's, try the premium rub. Okay, let me say that. Especially if you inject with Butcher's, because it's formulated to work with the injection, a perfect 1-2 punch to impress judges and friends alike. You have the sweet barbecue sauce. If I don't have my own on hand, then yes, we do have the ability to use Dave's sweet barbecue sauce. I love it. I buy boxes of 6 at one time because it goes really fast. And now the newest products. First, Dave has decided to completely dummy-proof injections. You have ready-made, ready-mixed right in the bottle. All you have to do is stick your injector in the bottle for the pork, stick your injector in the bottle for beef. It's already mixed, ready to go. Shake it up, bring it to your competitions, bring it to your backyard, and that's it. No more mixing, no more shaking and mixing or deciding how much you need to make. Dave's taking care of all of it for you. On top of that, you have the grilling oils, which I absolutely adore. Butter flavored, my favorite. Then you also have steakhouse seasoning and chipotle seasoning as well, or flavors. Look, stop this. Go to butcherbbq.com. That's butcherbbq.com and try their products. And then you tell me if I'm full of it, because I know I'm not. They're great. I use them, and I buy them. butcherbbq.com. We're back with more Meathead right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Ready to get on the air? Call 216-220-0966. Now, let's get back to the LeBron James of barbecue talk. Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Green Mountain Grills, manufacturers of some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. If you're looking for a big cooker to house a lot of food, they got one for you. Medium size. Yes, they can take care of you there. Tailgates. We're still tailgating. They got one for you in that size as well. Also, pellets to fire those cookers. Check them out at greenmountaingrills.com. That's Green Mountain Grills. You can love your Green Mountain Grill like I love my Green Mountain Grill if you just visit the website. All right. Meathead Goldwyn joining me. We got through a little bit of business last segment, Meathead, but now we're going to get into the meat, bad pun, of the situation. St. Patrick's Day obviously coming up Friday, and that is synonymous and not only. Well, let me ask you this question, Meathead, because you're kind of a Chicago guy. Does the river stay green all week, or did they jump the gun and dye the river green early, or what?
I'm not sure exactly when they dye. I think they dye it on the day of the parade. And the dye is pretty strong. The river gets really bright green. It's kind of cool looking, but it rapidly fades. Most of it stays within the top few inches of the surface. It dissipates. It's a food grade coloring, and that river holds a lot of water, so it dissipates pretty quickly. And the parade was Sunday, and I think the parade is the Sunday before St. Pat's Day. So St. Pat's Day is Friday this week, so I think they did the parade and the river. I once rode in the St. Patrick's Day parade in Chicago.
Really?
In the Wienermobile.
Really? Look at you.
Really?
You have made it.
I have it made, dude. I rode in the Wienermobile in the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Look at you.
That was like a highlight of my life.
How long ago was that?
About 8-10 years ago.
All right, so not that long ago.
No, it was a lot of fun. It was a beautiful sunny day. There's a lot of Irish in Chicago, and there's a lot of drinking in Chicago.
Yeah, so
it was a lot of fun.
Aside from the Green River and the copious amounts of alcohol that will be consumed, obviously there will be Reubens and pastrami's and all that stuff. Yeah. So I guess from a high level, because we don't have a considerable amount of time, talk to me about maybe the difference between the two and best recipes and seasonings and all that stuff.
Well, corned beef is the traditional St. Patrick's Day, and corned beef is simply cured brisket in its original form. You can also cure rump or any other cut, but it's just a matter of taking the meat and either submerging it in a salt solution with a little sodium nitrite, or you use prog powder number 1, which is a salt and sodium nitrite combination. Nitrite being a preservative. It also turns the meat pink. Same thing they use on hot dogs, andouille sausage, bacon, Canadian bacon. It turns the meat pink. And it's an old preservative. Also alters the flavor profile. There was a research project in the 1970s that connected it with cancer. That research project has been debunked. Subsequent research projects by the World Health Organization, a paper published just a couple of years ago in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Others say, in fact, actually, we need small amounts of nitrite. Mm-hmm. So the concerns over it being a carcinogen are pretty well past. But you don't eat it all that much anyhow. But what a lot of people don't realize is if you take corned beef and you put a spice rub on it, it's heavy in coriander and black pepper and other goodies, and smoke it just like you would a regular brisket, you end up with pastrami. And if you ask me, and probably half your listeners are going to hang up when I say this, it's better than Texas brisket. It's the ultimate expression of brisket.
Wow.
It is just, great pastrami. Now, Don in the chat room, he says he's got cousins who work at Katz's in New York.
Yeah.
They're a lower Manhattan delicatessen that's been around since the 1880s, and they are famous for their pastrami, and I think they make the best pastrami. Although my recipe, a lot of people say it's right up there. Mm. And we've got a new recipe published today, of all things, by our mutual friend Clint Cantwell, who now works with AmazingRibs.com. And Clint did sous vide Q out of it. You take your corned beef and you soak it first for a few hours. Overnight is best. And that pulls a lot of the excess salt because corned beef is loaded with salt. And then he puts it in a zipper bag and puts it in a sous vide bath and cooks it for 36 hours. And it comes out. He puts the rub on it, smokes it up to about 150 is all. And I haven't tried it yet because he just published the recipe. But the pictures look fantastic, and he swears it's better than my recipe. And my recipe is pretty good. So sous vide Q is really catching on. And since Clint came to work for us in January, we've asked him to focus on this because this is a really hot topic, and it has the potential for making some really great food. And I think this is a good case. So go to the table of contents on our website. It takes about 36 hours in the sous vide bath. So if you want to try it, start now. But if you're going to do just the traditional corned beef and cabbage with potatoes and carrots, the tricks that I want to pass along that'll make it a lot better is that desalination step. Soak it in a pot of water, cold water, in the fridge, and change the water every hour or two for maybe 3, 4, 6 hours overnight. You don't have to be every hour or two. Just change the water. What you're doing is you're pulling salt out, and because the process of making corned beef puts a lot of salt in. But you don't have to worry about removing salt because you're not storing it for a long time. You're about to cook it.
Can I
so
ask?
You desalinate it for a little bit. Yeah.
Let me ask one question. Is this going, or does this apply to those corned beefs that you get already packaged that has that spice packet that people usually just put into the so I want to desalinate.
Usually you get it in a cryovac bag.
Yes, right.
Often there's some liquid in there.
Very
That's the
pink.
curing liquid.
Yeah, okay.
And then they throw in like a packet of spices.
Yeah.
You can throw the spices out. They have no impact on the flavor of the meat. It's just an affectation. You throw the spice pack out, drain the curing liquid, put the corned beef in a bucket of water,
All right.
Pull some of the salt out, and then simmer it. Don't boil it. When you boil it, you tighten up the proteins, it shrinks, it gets tougher. Simmer it. And when you go shopping for corned beef, usually they're 3 to 5 pound packages. Most of them are flats because they make great sandwich slices, and that's what the public wants. But your audience knows the flats are the leaner and the tougher cut. You can often get point cut, and it's usually both a little bit of point on top of a little bit of flat with a big fat layer in between. But the point cut has more fat and is more succulent. Where's the audio?
Succulent?
Sound drop?
I don't have a succulent sound drop.
Oh, I thought you had a succulent sound drop.
I don't.
So, in any case, the key to it is simmer it at a low temp, keep it down around 190, cook the meat up to about 190, use your digital thermometer, do the salination step, and then in the last 30 minutes, add your potatoes and your carrots. Actually, in the last hour, add your potatoes and carrots, and then in the last 30 minutes, add the cabbage, because the cabbage doesn't need much time at all. And you get a really gentle broth. It's not too salty. I like to serve it with a little bit of the broth still in the bowl, but everybody does it differently. But the key is do the desalination and keep the temperature down.
Now, you can take the corned beef out of the broth at that point, as you had mentioned, and then, I like Reubens. I almost like Reubens like I like pizza. Pizza continues to be the reigning supreme for me, but thin slices against the grain, all the same stuff like you would. I mean, do you want to invest in one of those deli slicer machines, or just a nice sharp knife and do it that way?
A sharp knife is only because it's just like cutting brisket, and you can't cut brisket a lot thinner than a 1/4 inch, otherwise it just disintegrates. So pencil thick, 1/4 inch or so, is going to be just fine. Make sure you're cutting cross grain just like brisket, and it's easier to see the grain in corned beef than it is in a smoked brisket or a pastrami. But I got to tell you, you remember pastrami is corned beef's cousin. It's just rubbed and smoked. And if you like Reuben, and a Reuben is typically the classic recipe is just a really good rye bread.
Yep.
Mustard, maybe a little mayonnaise, sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, and corned beef. Or you can swap it out for pastrami, which is what I prefer to do. And I think it's like the world's best sandwich.
You put Thousand Island on there? Did you mention that?
Oh, no, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. The Thousand Island. How did I forget Thousand Island?
Some people aren't a fan, so they forget it.
Well, that's where the mayo was. But Thousand Island, you can skip the mustard if you want and go to Thousand Island. That's your traditional.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Island. So for pastrami, if you're going to be smoking it, I mean, then are you running into the same, I want to say pitfalls or hurdles, but do you have to watch it like you're watching a brisket? Because everybody's scared about, effing up the brisket. All right. So there is that.
You're going to use this. I have the rub recipe on my website. And it's really close to the Katz's recipe. It's heavy on coriander and black pepper, and it's got a bunch of other good stuff in there. And you just rub it up and cook it till it's, like a meteorite, just like a brisket, dark black. You get a great crust on it. If you want, some people will steam that, and that just further breaks down the collagen and tenderizes it. But as you can imagine, it messes with the bark.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of preference. You can try it both ways. And that's where Clint's technique of sous videing it first, then smoking it is really superior, because the sous vide, 36 hours, breaks down the collagen, makes it really tender, and then you're just smoking it to get the crust and the flavor. Brilliant technique, and I can't wait. In fact, I just picked up a grocery store corned beef. Often I make my own corned beef, and I have a recipe for that too. It's pretty easy. But I just picked one up because I got to try Clint's recipe. I read it today, and that's what we're eating on Friday, I guarantee.
All right, everybody seems very excited about that, the sous vide barbecue thing. Last thing before I let you go, end of the month, carrying into the very, very first day of April, NBBQA is going to be happening, and you are giving some type of a lecture or talk or insight to that.
This, Greg? Are you going to be there?
No, I went to HPB Expo. That's it for me.
God, I had to pay for you just to be in the audience for me.
Well,
they're giving me the floor. There's no competing seminar, and National Barbecue Association is now the National Barbecue and Grilling Association.
Right.
And you might see my fingerprints on that. I've been working on Linda Orson on this for a long time, and she was a mover and shaker in getting that changed. And I am talking, my topic is that barbecue and grilling are cousins, and the line between them is hard to see. This is a favorite topic between you and me.
I know.
I'm doing a whole presentation on the history of barbecue, the history of grilling, the culinary relationships, and the overlap. And we're going to challenge the audience, and I'm going to let them challenge me on how do you draw that line, and is it a real line or is it an artificial line? Because now the National Barbecue Association is Barbecue and Grilling Association.
Well, congratulations on getting that kind of renamed or reconfigured. And I happen to agree with you, by the way. I think that is only an apt name for that. It's not only just about barbecue anymore. So Meathead Goldwyn is going to be in Fort Worth, Texas, end of the month through April 1st. I forget what the days are exactly. And that's a cool thing if you're down and you want to see a bunch of barbecue celebs and all that other stuff, right?
It's a really good conference. It's just shocking that they have only 600 members, but they often have 300-400 attending the conference. And usually your big name guys are floating around. There's usually Myron and
Tuffy and Mo and Chris Lilly, right? All these guys.
Yeah, and there's some really good seminars. They bring in people from the pork board and the beef checkoff, and there's how to break down a hog demonstrations. Mark Lambert is the incoming president. People who don't know him, he's out of Memphis, multinational champion from
Sweet Swine
Memphis
of
in May.
Right.
Good swine of mine.
Sweet Swine
of mine.
Yep.
Sweet Swine of mine, and he makes the Red Box. Is that what's the name of it?
Yes, right.
The Red Box, and he's the incoming president. All the guys from the shed are there, and wherever they go, there's a party.
No doubt.
It's just a good time, and the seminars are good.
All right, so if you're going to be in Fort Worth, check out Meathead. You can find him otherwise at AmazingRibs.com and on this show the second Tuesday of every month. Meathead, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Oh, always good to talk to you, Greg.
That's Meathead right there. There he is. From Chicago, as it were.
All guests on the BBQ Central Show appear via the Smithfield Hotline. Yummy.
Oh, technology, how you fail me sometimes. All right, AmazingRibs.com is his website. If you've never seen it before, you might have just recently got the internet. You can get a Cookshack, too. They're probably going to be down at the NBBQA to some degree. They manufacture smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience, whether you barbecue in your backyard, on the competition circuit, or in a 5-star dining facility. Cookshack has the unit that will do the job, and with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, it's the perfect one-stop shop. Cookshack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 blogs, smoke and grilling 101s, and a video cooking classroom. Check out their website, cookshack.com, or Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Get advice or share your passion for barbecue on the world-class barbecue forum. Cookshack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champions because they were designed by a champion, Ed Fast Eddie Morin. The FEC 100, the PG 1000, always customer favorites. Why? Because the PG 1000, for instance, can double as a smoker and a grill. Low and slow, hot and fast, the pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Cookshack residential electric smokers are the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality means high durability, and that means versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make on a Cookshack. Get the heat out of the kitchen. Take it outside. Passion and dedication drives Cookshack's manufacturing, with quality always being at the forefront. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. Call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or visit Cookshack.com. We will wrap the first hour coming up, and stick around.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your #1 source for quality wood pellets to fire all of your pellet-driven cookers. Hey, don't fall for the shenanigans. Just because you use a different pellet cooker than your pellet cooker manufacturer might give to you doesn't mean it's going to void any warranties. These are some of the best pellets out there on the market today, and they're coming out with new products like you won't believe. Chris Becker will be on the show shortly to talk about it. In the meantime, CookinPellets.com. That's CookinPellets.com. Thanks again to Meathead Goldwyn from AmazingRibs.com for joining me the past 2 segments, talking about pastrami and other such business attributes. Again, he'll be at the National Barbecue and Grilling Association. That will be in Fort Worth, Texas. John Dawson weighing in. Subject line, oh, the irony. First, a Jew riding in the Wienermobile on St. Patrick's Day. Second, Catholics can't eat meat on Fridays during Lent. So how does this all make sense? Answer, it doesn't. Your friendly, proud Protestant, John Dawson. John, who follows Lent? Only when it's convenient. If you say 2 extra prayers on Sunday because of the meat you ate on Friday, all is good. All right, I just got a great news email that I can't share with you, but that's all right. If you are looking for the pastrami recipe or corned beef recipe, the salination process, as Meathead said, it's all up on his website, AmazingRibs.com. Go to the table of contents. If you've never been to Meathead's website, there's a substantial amount of information. So hit table of contents and then start the incredible search through. There's a lot of stuff. There's search bars and all that stuff, make it a little easier for you. But just in case, be prepared to be overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge and information dissemination that is going on over at AmazingRibs.com. Before Meathead said BBQ, I was kind of under the impression that my prediction of sous vide was dying before the end of the year was coming true well before its time. I don't know if I've heard anybody mention sous vide other than Meathead in the past month. I think it's on its way out. I do think pizza is still going to be very popular. Every time I go to Starbucks to get a sous vide egg bite, they are sold out. So I don't know if they're just that popular or if they're just saying they're sold out to generate fake urgency and interest. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I got to run upstairs and grab my water that I forgot to bring down at the start of the show, and hopefully I can make it back here for the beginning. All right, here we go. Sorry, we're just reading something. All right, here we go. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the BBQ Central Networks.
This is Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to BBQ Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Hey, just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard here, folks. This is the BBQ Central Show, and we talk about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. And we broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am the aforementioned Greg Rempe, and thank you for joining me. If you missed the first hour, don't worry about it. I'm recording. You can get it in podcast starting at 11:55 this p.m. all day tomorrow on the BBQ Central website. Live audio, live. All day tomorrow. This is how it works. The show takes place on Tuesday between 9 and 11. I'm also recording the show as it happens, both video and audio. For those of you that might be doing a live show and you're not recording it, bad news. It's a bad thing to do. So I'm streaming to Twitch. I'm streaming to Outdoor Cooking Channel. I'm streaming to Facebook. I'm streaming to the audio portion of BBQ Central. And on top of all that, I'm also recording both the video and the audio. So at the end of the evening, they go up to iTunes for audio and the associated audible feeds that take podcasts, and then I upload the video to YouTube and my business Facebook, the YouTube BBQ Central Facebook, whatever it is. Now this is a rarity. A call in. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, Greg, this is your sister. All right, you know, Katie? The one that lives in Seattle.
Who?
You know, your sister?
Yes.
I just had to call in because I've been listening for several weeks now, and I'm very upset about the way you portray our mother on this show. Nobody in our family sounds like this. Is ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
You hear how you're talking, right?
I am talking like a normal human being, just like you, Greg. just like you.
I don't talk like that. I spent years getting that accent out, so now I am a professional order of the highest regard. And by the way, if you don't think your mother talks like that, you should record yourself and listen back to you. What are you doing?
Greg, I am living my life here in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh,
all right?
really?
And I have known enough people who would tell me if I sounded crazy like you're making our mother sound like.
You think Mom sounds crazy?
I think the way you are portraying our mother sounds crazy.
I mean, this is what she talks like. You're doing an impression of Mom. That's what you're doing. How dare you? How dare you talk about Mom like that? Dad is going to be pissed.
How would you even say that? Oh no.
That's right. He's going to be pissed.
Well, you are spot on with our father. He does sound exactly like that. That was really good.
Hello. Who's this?
Is that Mom?
Honey, Katie?
Mom?
I can barely hear you. I'm at end of days, but how are you, honey? Oh.
Mom, I'm good. I didn't realize you were on the show tonight. Are you doing Connie's Corner?
Who are you talking to? I'm talking to Katie.
Dad?
What is she doing? Katie, hello. Katie, how are you? Hello, Katie, hi.
Oh, my God.
What are you doing?
Oh, my God, Mom, I haven't talked to you in so long.
What? Are
you
you
never
on the
called me now. There's a time change. It's only 3 hours.
Are you on the show tonight? Are you talking about barbecue? Your mother called. I called in because I heard your daughter. You haven't talked to her in weeks, and now you have an opportunity. I'm trying to help you out. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to Katie. Katie, say something. Your father can barely hear you. Who? I'm talking to...
Dad?
What?
This is your only daughter.
Who is
this? Is your only daughter, Katie? Oh, my God.
Yes.
Here he goes again.
Oh, that's right.
How many martinis has he had? How many martinis?
Honey,
tell me.
Honey,
it's okay.
Don't talk about your father's drinking problem in the public eye. You know... Who are you talking to? Oh,
God,
dear.
it's really hitting the sauce hard. And I don't
geez.
mean the barbecue sauce.
I
Greg, I'm sorry
gotta
about
get a martini. I can't stand for... That's right, dear. You go get your martini. And don't worry about other people talking about you in the chat rooms. Forget it. Honey, you've angered your father. Now he might be very angry now. What have you done?
I'm sorry, Ma. Okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. I'm sorry.
There's something going on here that's so bizarre. It feels like I'm not even hosting feels like I'm hosting my own show. Let's start a show. Here we go. It's the Connie and Katie show. Hello?
Wow, Ma, that's a pretty good name.
Welcome to our show. Katie, what are we talking about?
I mean, we talk all sorts of ladies' issues. Okay, we talk about nail polish. We talk about knitting. We talk about laundry. We're just going to lay it all out. We're going to spill the tea, okay?
I love doing laundry. I remember doing laundry for all of you kids growing up in the olden days. Even when we had black and white television, you know, your twin brothers, they could barely do a lick of laundry between themselves. I didn't want to air our dirty laundry on our new show.
Oh, Ma!
See what I did?
You're so good.
I did it.
Oh, my God, we're going to get so many subscribers on our channel.
All right. Well, look, I've got to go because your father's giving me the evil eye because he can't find his vermouth mister. And it's very important for him to have just a mist of vermouth, okay?
Ma, just show the bottle to the martini glass. That's all it needs. All right, just show
gentle.
it to it.
Just say it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Right.
Please call me again in 3 weeks.
Yeah. All right, Ma. I'll call you at the time.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Bye.
All right.
What the hell just happened here? I don't even know what happened. My show was shanghaied. Oh, my Lord. Matt Boer, you do need my dad's recipe. There's no doubt about it. All right, still to come on the show. When my parents are still up. It's amazing how that just immediately switches right off when they call in. They must have done some type of backdoor dastardly deeds. They hacked into my software, I think is what it is. Yes, that's right. Still to come on the show tonight, Travis Clark, and Doug Scheiding of Rogue Barbecue Cookers, or as we know him as the official Texas embedded correspondent. We're going to be talking about all sorts of hijinks that took place down at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo. So stay tuned for that. If you want to get in touch with the show, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
So that's how you get in touch. Now, few updates for you. No necessarily new horse meat updates. We're still running along. We have David Joyce, his lackey, kind of on board, sending me documents and basically stating that after 13 pages of review of what is and is not against the law or against the law, that people might have a taste, bad pun, for horse meat at some point, so all doors are not closed. But at this point, doors are closed. So we continue that. 11, no less than 11 horse meat 2017 T-shirts were delivered to a no-name, please, nationally ranked 16-year-old volleyball team. 11 shirts. Whether you call them consenting advocates of horse meat talk or impressionable young ladies, whatever, we got to push the agenda by any means necessary. So that's your horse meat update. Hall of Fame update. Here we go. Don't forget, you can fill out the online form, which I'm about to copy and paste here into the chat room. If you have not, yes, really, Angela Iverson, I'm not kidding. No Names Please, a nationally ranked 16-year-old volleyball team, is wearing 2017 horse meat T-shirts. I just posted it in the chat room. It's the American Royal form stack. So you have to go in and fill out the red asterisks. So if you wrote a letter for me, put that in the describe why the guy needs to be in the Hall of Fame. Remember, we're serving an overall higher cause. We're not just trying to get me into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. We're trying to serve a higher cause here that I'm not going to get into at this point. All right, let me talk to you quickly about the Pit Barrel Cooker Gang. Pulling the trigger on a new cooker can be nerve-wracking. Temperature control, fire management, what woods to use. Who needs the hassle? Might I strongly suggest a Pit Barrel Cooker? The Pit Barrel makes cooking simple and fun, and it just might be the most unique, versatile, and easy-to-use cooker available on the market today. Imagine a single cooker that turns out great traditional barbecue meats while also being able to ramp up in temperature to do burgers, chicken wings, and hot dogs. The versatility, all thanks to a revolutionary design that goes way beyond traditional convection. Their hook-and-hang method places the food in the center of the heat, so it's acting like a stationary rotisserie. The results, great tasting, perfectly cooked food each and every time. Not only is the Pit Barrel a fabulous cooking vessel, it's aesthetically sexy as well. It's built to withstand heat, and thanks to its porcelain enamel finish, the Pit Barrel Cooker is able to withstand any type of weather. It's also extremely portable. Fits in the back of most trucks, vans, and SUVs, ready to go wherever you are. Of course, we're barbecue folks. We all love accessories, and the Pit Barrel doesn't disappoint here either. From the rubs, the unique removable ash pan, the pit grips, the turkey hangers, the hinged grill grates, the beer koozies, drink koozies, and the really cool coffee mug that I literally use each and every morning because I love it. All of their accessories complete your Pit Barrel cooking experience. Best part, here it is, $299. The Pit Barrel Cooker comes fully assembled, ready to cook on, and ships for free right to your door. Not only does the cooker ship free, but with so few returns, everything they sell ships to the lower 48 continental states each and every day for free. No promo code, no coupon needed. Don't take my word for it. Folks at AmazingRibs.com continue to rave about it, giving it their gold division rank That's the highest one, by the way, not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row. They've said time and time again that they're running out of great things to say about this simple, affordable cooker. There's nothing else like it on the market. Except for the knockoffs.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Shame on you. Head on over to pitbarrelcooker.com. That's pitbarrelcooker.com. See what everybody's talking about. Be sure to check out their large collection of high-definition how-to videos and then pick up one or two for yourself. You'll thank me later. If you have any questions, you can contact them through their website or call 502-228-1222. That's 502-228-1222. Find out what great customer service is all about. Stick around. We'll be back with Travis Clark right after this.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Unknown Smoker Accessories. Purveyors of made in the USA stainless steel barbecue and smoker lid hinges, barbecue accessory hangers, rocket hot chimney grillers, and heavy-duty aluminum foil dispensers. The fine products from Unknown Smoker Accessories keep your gear where it needs to be at arm's length and ready for battle. Visit unknownbbq.com/shop today. That's unknownbbq.com/shop. Enter promo code REMPE for 15% off your entire order if you need it. All right. My guest in the second hour was the 2015 KCBS Team of the Year. Taking a look at the current points standing, he's right back at the top in 2017. Let's head over to the Smokin' with Smithfield hotline. And welcome back, Pitmaster of Clark Crew Barbecue, Travis Clark, joining me here on the show. Trav, how are you, buddy?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Absolutely fabulous, Trav. Always appreciate you making time for the show. So, I mentioned in the open, you're currently number one in the points chase. No one knows better than you that this is way early in the year, but just from a high level and looking back at almost the end of the first quarter of the year, how are you feeling about Cooks right now, and what do you think you need to be dialing in over the next few weeks and months to get you to even a better spot?
I feel I'm cooking better food right now than I ever have, and I've told some of my very close friends that, there was a lot of things that I was getting maybe a little bit of sloppy on, getting so comfortable after cooking so many. And I took the whole month of November off and just sat back and thought, what the crap am I doing wrong here? And I just thought about it. There's a lot of little steps I was missing, and there was a few things I tweaked, and then it was just eye-opening to us. I'm like, God, what the hell were we thinking? And I just honestly feel like I'm just cooking great food now.
Travis, when you
make little mistakes.
When you look back on the KCBS Team of the Year run in 2015, obviously legendary between you and David Qualls, I remember a distinct point in our conversation as we were kind of recapping that you said every time wasn't the same for you. You would change this, you would tweak that, just kind of on a whim. Obviously, that carries over into last year. At what point did you say, hey, I really have to dial in? Because what do you hear time and time again from other pitmasters? It's consistency, it's following the program, it's writing stuff down, blah, 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 blah. And you seem to have had a wild amount of success, not going against that grain, but kind of going against that grain too a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely different than pretty much anybody in the country. I mean, I pretty much run my same thing, but I'm not scared to take, if I'm cooking 4 racks of ribs, I'm not scared to do something totally different on 2 of those racks. A lot of guys don't do that, and I mean, I work a full-time job. I can't practice during the week. And if I'm cooking every weekend at a contest, my practice happens at a contest. I'll do something. I've trimmed butts completely different. I've trimmed briskets completely different. I've changed that pit 100 degrees here and there. I've done a lot of things, and the program that I run, wrapping on color and pulling on feel, I can make those changes because I'm not dialed into looking at a gauge going, oh my God, I'm a 202. I have to pull it. I don't do that. I'm old school, man. I wrap on color and I pull on feel.
You
can make those changes.
Is there a percentage, so let's say if you're cooking 3 racks that you normally would, and then you have this weirdo rack that you're practicing on or trying something new on, is there a percentage of times at a competition that you will turn in the weirdo rack versus the traditional stuff that you would turn in?
Probably not a percentage. If we feel it's good, I'll run it. We've done it. We've done it a couple of times this year. Especially on pork, we've put in money muscle off of one, and we used pulled off of another one that we thought was good. We did that just this weekend, and it was a completely different pulled than what I'd ever ran before. And my wife goes, "I really like it." I was like, "I do too." I was like, "Oh, hell with it, let's run it." And I made about 3 different changes on my injection, and I did a little something different when I wrapped it. And I didn't like how the money muscle on that one turned out, but the pulled was fantastic. It's just a call I make. If I think my food's great, I'll run it. The best food goes in the box no matter what.
The changes that you make or the differences that you're adding into an injection, whatever, all stuff that you're making notes on so you can determine if it's something you're going to be trying the next time out?
Yeah. That's kind of a funny process. My wife is pretty much making our injections now since I've been working later. So she, she'll tell me, I'll tell her, I'm like, "Send me my injection." I'll sit there and I'll look at it, and I'll be sitting there and I'm like, "You know what? Instead of doing 2 tablespoons of this, do 3. Instead of, 3, do 2. It's not drastic changes, but it's amazing what little things like that do. And the thing is that's how easy it is to get off. That's what I was doing on my chicken. I had gotten so far off, and I just sucked in chicken last year. And that's always been my thing I was known for. And my good friend, Rod Gray, he preaches it to everybody, and Darren will tell you that Rod told him the same thing. Rod is the man on that, telling you, he said, "You're doing something different. It's something little that you don't even know you're doing." And I'm sitting there, fuck, no, I'm not, and then you sit there and you write it down. All right, we used to do this. We used to do, well, shit, that was an hour earlier when we used to do that. Okay. Well, then we used to do this and this. Well, shit, we're using a different kind of butter now than what we used to use. And you start thinking about it, and now all of a sudden you got 6 or 7 things that's different than what you used to do that you think are little bitty things. Some of that shit adds up to be huge.
Well, no doubt about it. If you can't think of one and you're ending up with a list of 6, 10 different things, that's obviously a big deal. So how does it?
And you don't think it's a little. You don't think you did anything because when I changed that butter, I was still hitting. So then it just kind of goes by the wayside. When I started using a different rub instead of another one, and you were still scoring well, it goes by the wayside. You don't think about that. You don't. My wife just stepped in and told me to quit cussing. Am I cussing? I must be.
Well, it is internet radio, so there's no, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, and it's me, and I think there's probably a disclaimer when I come on. Everybody knows this. But, just little things like that, Greg. And then if you make that change and you hit and you're like, okay, let's try that on half of them again next week, and if it works again and you think it's good, then I might think about doing that on my second pan of chicken. I always make those little tweaks on one thing. I never have gone to a contest, and just switched all my chicken. I might do 1 pan this way, 1 pan this way. I'll do 2 racks of ribs this way. I'll do 2 racks of ribs this way. I'll do that, but that's my practice, and I'll do that. But when you sit back and you look at that and you're thinking, okay, well, I used to just do this and this. Well, we're using a whole different rub than what we used to use. Okay, well, let's go back to that, and you make that change. And then, before long, you just find out there's things that you're doing that I don't care who you are, you think about it and you didn't really notice it. But when you go back, well, let's go back to when I was hitting really hard. That was 2 years ago. What was you doing then? Over the period of 2 years, you've changed something.
How long do you wait for, obviously you're not getting scores that you're accustomed to. So how long do you take those scores not being where you need to be or where you think they need to be in order for you to say, hey, let's start going back and looking at how we used to do it, generating that list? What kind of a time frame is that?
Well, I can give you a pretty damn close timeline. Last year, I started cooking in March, and we didn't really do great in chicken. And I cooked that same damn chicken all the way up to about the 1st of October before I started changing it. And that's cooking a lot, in between there. And then I started making a few little changes, and it was just very little things, and I think there was some of that Smart Chicken had kind of gone to shit, I think, because everybody's cooking it, and I wasn't getting as good a chicken. So I started being more selective on my product. I just started being a little more selective on things. And I did a few practice cooks in November, here at the house. And that's something that I have never done. I've never practiced. I mean, that's stupid. I know it sounds, but I just never have. And then so I did some practicing and did a few things. And I even cooked a couple briskets and tried a couple things. And, hell, I was pretty much happy with all of it. And we started running it this year, and it's hitting again. But, it's early in the year. I mean, hell, what you're doing now that's hitting may suck here in another month or two.
And that's just something that you've decided that you can live with? Judges and trends and this and that?
Yeah, you got to. I mean, I think when you get into it, you got to. I've never really ventured off anything deep. It's not like I've gone from Kansas City style to straight vinegar. I've never done anything radical. And I've gone a lot of places where they tell you that. I go cook in Georgia. The first time I went there, they're like, boy, that Kansas City shit ain't going to work down here. You better run vinegar. You better do this. And I ran my same old stuff, and we won the damn contest. So good food's good food. That's another thing that has always been instilled in me, and I believe that. I don't believe that California food won't hit in Kansas City or in the Midwest, or the Midwest food won't hit out there, or vice versa in Georgia. Good food's good food.
Darren Worth was on the show last week, and he had said, which he said on this show a number of times before, he hopes to put middle-of-the-road barbecue, and he went into a little bit more detail by saying, I don't want the judge to bite into that rib or that chicken or that brisket and go, I wonder what that spice is, or I wonder what's in that. He wants them to take a bite and go, that's really good, and then just put it down and move to the next one. To me, I'm like, yeah. I would almost want that judge to be like, hey, what was that? I see it as him thinking that in a good way, and evidently that's not the right way or the best mindset to have. You just want it to be good, and that's it, not have him stew on it, or her.
Yeah, I agree. I want him to take a bite and think, damn, that's good. I don't want to offend anybody. And being middle of the road, that's the easiest way to not offend somebody. I don't want to be too salty. I don't want to be too sweet. And I damn sure don't want to be too hot. And if anything, that's the one thing I tend to do is spice it up a little bit much and then try it again after I turn it in and my wife's taking the box and go, oops, that may be a bit warm, because I like that. And sometimes I let that get the best of me, but I agree, middle of the road, you're not going to offend many people, and I can handle a judge that just thinks my stuff is average a lot more than somebody if I offend them, because if I offend two of them, you're screwed.
Yeah. Travis,
you might get by with offending one, but not two.
Travis Clark joining me here on the show, Pitmaster Clark Crew Barbecue Team. Trav, you did Winter Q this past weekend, Great Bend, Kansas. You grab RGC out there. Actually, it's a lot of seconds for you at that event, actually. You hear barbecue competition, and you don't go right to thinking about snow and cold, but you deal with that at this event. I mean, are you a guy that's actively tracking the weather leading into an event, no matter where it is, or does it have a chance to take you by surprise?
I do. I do look at weather, and I knew there was a chance of rain and freezing. It started out as rain or freezing rain, which ended up being snow. I do look at that. I look at the weather before I get to a town. Like if I'm stopped getting fuel, I'll type in where I'm going. And I think about that because I try to think of when I pull in, I want to know which direction trailers are parked. If some are going east and west or some of them are going north and south, I want to know where the wind is going to be situated with my pit. I always think about the wind first. I don't care about temperature. I care less. I don't even matter. Wind is all that matters to me. I like wind coming across my pit a certain direction. I prefer it if it's possible. So I always look at that. And there's a lot of times, they'll say, hey, we got you a spot right here. And I said, I'd prefer to be right over there, even if it's a little further away. That's the most important thing to me.
From a high level, obviously, you're always happy with a reserve grand. You always like to win it, of course, but top 10 finish for anybody is something you like.
Happy.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
no, it was good.
How'd it go? Yeah, good. A lot of good second place.
I'd feel a lot better coming out with a category win. It was a lot of seconds. But hey, that's better than thirds, which I was the king of last year. So you're happy with it. It was a good cook. obviously I could improve things. There's things I need to do to be better. And I'll never stop for that. Anybody that knows me, I'll never stop that. I mean, I'm just always going to keep going to try to be better every single week.
Coming towards the end of March, do you have goals here over the next couple months that you would like to hit, or what did you plan for 2017 for goals?
I definitely want to be back in the top 10 in KCBS, and I want to be in the top 10 in every category. That was my goal I set out this year. We didn't get that done in chicken last year, and I don't feel for as many times as I cooked that was acceptable. And I'm going to try everything I can to be in the top 10 in every category this year.
On the off chance you find yourself at the end for a run, will you make a battle for team of the year, or you have one and that's enough for you?
I don't want to get into it like I did with Dave. I mean, KCBS means a lot to me, but after doing it, I don't think it was worth that. I really don't. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, I don't feel that it was worth it. I mean, if I'm in it, I mean, if I'm legitimately in it and it's with some friends of mine, especially, I think it would mean more to me. I mean, if you're in it and it's against Darren or it's against Blaine or against Qualls, again, if it's with your friends, I think that adds a whole nother level to it, a level of excitement, when you can enjoy, cooking with those guys. I think if it was against somebody that was freaking completely different area than me, and we weren't going to be going head to head, I don't really know if that'd be as fun, and I probably wouldn't want to do it.
Travis, do you think there's room for, lack of a better term, multiple teams of the year? In other words, let's say there's a gold level, and that's 35 plus events during the course of the year, and then you have a silver level that might be. Is that something that you hear being bannered around, or something that you think could actually get done?
I absolutely think it could be. I mean, I'm open to a lot of these rules. Sterling and Qualls. There's so many guys, Darren. Right? There's so many guys that have great ideas, and you listen to them tell them, and they're all great. They all have their valid points. But I definitely think there's a lot of room to improve on the team of the year process. I think. I'll just say it. I think there's a lot of people that are chicken shit to make that move. I mean, they're all, most of the moves they want to make, you stand back and think, God, you're a dumbass. I mean, that has nothing to benefit barbecue or the cooks, There's, I think it gets to that point where I think if it's going to be made, I think there needs to be a lot of research put into it. I think there needs to be a lot of input. I hear all the time that there's only 10 teams in the country that give a shit about team of the year. I hear that all the frickin' time. And I think, and it pisses me off because I work my ass off to do it.
Yeah.
And when some chicken shit says that, I mean, you're taking and devaluing what the hell I work for. And it pisses me off, but at the end of the day, if that's how they feel about it, that's fine. So if that's the case, if only 10 of us care about it, why don't you ask those 10 what they think they ought to do with the team of the year? I mean, why the hell I got some clown up there that don't know anything about it making that decision if nobody cares about it? So I mean, it's one of those things that can get pretty heated about it. I mean, there's a lot of good decisions. I mean, I don't think it should be a year-long deal like this. Little things. Maybe there was brought up the point of starting a season at different times to encourage more people to do it. I can see the good and bad of that. It gives you more options of where to go cook, but also it doesn't make your best teams have to compete against each other. So that's kind of a downfall. I mean, I don't know if there's a right or wrong way, but I think there's some things that could be done to improve it. And I think there's a hell of a lot of people with a lot of brains and a lot of smarts about it. And those decisions should be made other than a bunch of people in a damn room making a decision that don't know shit about it.
Trav, where are you gonna be competing at next?
Let's see. I got a class this weekend in Wisconsin.
Oh.
And then I go to Shawnee, Oklahoma, and do that double header. I think they're going to have like 100 teams there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You love the big ones.
Oh God, I do. It's so fun. I mean, anything goes. I mean, that's the kind of contest. I mean, 2 calls to win it. Most contests you cook, you got to have 3 or 4 calls. It kind of keeps it pretty exciting. 2 calls can win a contest like that.
Is the class full this weekend?
It is.
All right.
We could probably take a couple more. I think there's like 50 people in it. it's with spouses and everything like that. But it's a big class, big room. It'll be a good one.
Going to be up there in Wisconsin?
And we got one. Yeah, it's La Crosse, Wisconsin. We got one next month in April. We got our last class that we're going to do this year down there here in Yukon again. Nice. And then I'm not going to do anything else until we may do one in the fall. I don't know. I don't even want to do one then.
He is the pitmaster of Clark Crew Barbecue Team. Travis Clark, currently sitting atop the KCBS Team of the Year points race. He's going to be giving a class in La Crosse, Wisconsin this weekend and then competing week after that in the Big Double. Trav, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you.
You got it?
Bye.
Hey, that's Travis Clark right there if you need him. He will be giving a class. Sorry, hold on one second.
All guests on the BBQ Central Show appear via the Smithfield Hotline. Yummy.
So if you're going to be up there in the La Crosse area, you may or may not give him a shout. Email, hit him on the Facebook, see if he's got any open room left for his class. As I said in the open, Travis Clark, not at all afraid of letting it fly. I love that as a host, by the way. All right, folks, let me talk to you quickly about the Chops Power Injector System, the NBBQA 2015 and 16 Tool of the Year. Let's see if they can make it 3 years in a row in a couple weeks. Let me talk to you about them. There's a half-gallon Chops Power Injector. I have one of these. Designed for the competition guy or gal, or just to pump up the backyard warrior like me. So easy to use, right? Clean it, fill it, pump it, and away you go. If you have just one brisket or pork shoulder to do, you don't need to fill it all the way up. Just put in what you need. It will use it all. It comes with 14-gauge needles, 2 replacement plastic needle adapters, 3 plug screws, and a needle protector. It's $100, and you pay the shipping. Then you have the 1-gallon Chops Power Injector System. It holds double the amount of the half-gallon. That's why they call it the gallon. Some use it in competitions, like when you are cooking MBN whole hog or 10 shoulders to get that perfect one. It comes with 14-gauge needles, 2 replacement plastic needle adapters, 3 plug screws, and a needle protector, $120, plus you pay the shipping. Then you have the Chops Full Power Injector System. It's electric. It is the commercial and competition Big Daddy. This time, it's not a holding tank. Instead, it's a 3.5-foot pickup tube that you can put in any size container, from a few ounces to a 55-gallon drum. It was designed for Chef Rob at the best barbecue restaurant in Kansas City. And he has said time and time again that with the Chops Full Power Injector System, his briskets are better than ever. It comes with metal needle adapters, 14-gauge needles, 3-inch 12-gauge needles, 2-inch 11.5-gauge needles, 3 plug screws, and a needle protector, $325, plus you pay the shipping. A number of the top pit masters in the world use the Chops Power Injector System every day to make their barbecue better than the rest. Here's the thing. We live in a foodie world that requires flavor in every bite. This is how you do it, and do it fast. It's not just for meat. How about alcohol-infused watermelon? Yeah, baby. Every injector hand-assembled in Kansas City, Missouri, USA. They got all the accessories that you might want. Here's what you do. You visit them. BBQKansasCity.com. That's BARBEQUE. BBQKansasCity.com. You can also visit Chops Barbecue Restaurant in Kansas City as well. I might do that next month when I'm in Kansas City for a volleyball tournament. The Chops Barbecue Restaurant. Check it out. All right, we're back with Doug Scheiding right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
The biggest name in pork is bringing you great opportunities this barbecue season. Get smoking with Smithfield and their grant program and Committed Cooks program. You can learn more at smokinwithsmithfield.com. That's smokinwithsmithfield.com. My next guest is the official Texas correspondent Also the pitmaster of Rogue Barbecue Cookers. Welcome back, Doug Scheiding, to the show. Dougie! What's up?
How are you, Greg?
I'm doing very well. Let me reset my news scene here. Get Travis Clark out of the way. There's Doug. All right, bad connection. I got to hang up and call you right back.
Okay.
Sounded like ass. Woof. Sometimes the Skype is... Oh. Wow. What is that? Woof. We might have to go Hotline Jones here, Doug.
No worries. It seems to be a little more clear now.
Yeah, I'm getting an incredible amount of electric on the line for some reason. Just call the hotline. 216-220-0966. Oh, wait. Did it go away?
No, I'm here.
Yeah. The electric went away, though. All right. Hey.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, it didn't. It didn't. Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Call the phone. Woof.
All right.
Right. Hanging up on Doug. You're hearing that, right? God, annoying. I hate when that happens. How can I have a perfectly good interview with Travis Clark and then I call on the Skype, which is supposed to be phenomenal, and then I get crap?
Get that big stuff out of here.
Good Lord. Oops. Doug.
Greg.
Wow, way better. How do you not know the call-in line, Doug? Come on. What are you doing?
I had it under BBQ Central instead of under Greg Rempe. So.
That's funny. All right, so let's get into it here a little bit. Of course, last week I had Darren Worth on the show recapping the big win in Texas for the barbecue side of things. I guess let's start there. I mean, he was runner-up a couple years before that. He's been in a total of 3 times. He said this was a huge event as far as the bucket list of items that they needed to cross off. Prior to last week, this was the one that was the last one to cross off. According to him, he'd won everything else. We've kind of backtracked a little bit on that. But from your perspective, being a guy down in Texas, you see a lot of Texas stuff going on. You see a guy come down from Iowa and win a Houston Livestock and Rodeo. Certainly not pitting one state against the next or anything like that, but just from a competitor's situation, how big of a win is that for a true KCBS guy?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. And oddly enough, we were the ones that actually somehow beat him that year in 2015. And in a way, I felt a little bad, but knowing him and as he proved, he came through and won it. He's there almost every year. I think he's been there 3 out of the last 4 years. So that many shots at winning it, he was going to win it sooner or later.
Are you a believer in the fact that while he had on a number of occasions backed off Memphis in May, last week he said, well, if you would have asked me Saturday, I would have said I had no interest in doing it. But on a Tuesday at 9:14 Eastern Time PM, he said, yeah, you know what, we're thinking about that and we might entertain it. Do you think that that's something he might follow through with?
I think so. I think, as much as he says he likes to have fun and, it's fun when you win, obviously, but I think he's still somewhat of a competitor and the chance to go down in history of winning them all, including Memphis in May, despite the little bit of pomp and circumstance that you have in the parading of the judges in and those sorts of things. I think he would give it a shot. And I agree with you. I think he's got the notoriety that he would be held up in the same regard as, Tuffy and Myron and things like that.
Just from a purely speculation standpoint, if he were to compete in Memphis in May and win it, in your opinion, does he immediately go down as the greatest barbecue competition cook of all time?
Absolutely. I mean, there's potentially the argument that could be made for him right now. So I think if he won that would certainly solidify it if he hasn't already done so.
that leads to this question. If he does that the following year, is he immediately voted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame?
I would say absolutely yes.
Some of us work so hard to be ignored. All right, Doug. In keeping up with the Houston livestock and rodeo discussion, there was a Steve. I can't believe it's kind of become termed that, a Steve Harvey-esque moment. Its own little weird announcement debacle in the dessert category. Talk to me about that.
Well, dessert is a Friday turn-in, and they only announce on Friday. They come and do the pomp, and circumstance. They ring the cowbells and horns, and people cheer, and then they give you a finalist sign. So only the 3 teams that finished 1, 2, and 3 were announced on Friday evening. So they are automatically, those 3 teams get to go up on stage on Saturday, along with the top 8 in the chicken, ribs, and brisket. So they already know that they've made the finals and that they'll be up on stage regardless of how they finish in the 3 major meets.
Where does the debacle start?
The debacle started, well, the Saturday went, they had the awards, and they had those 3 teams up on stage, and we noticed that they didn't give us the results on Saturday evening for the different Dutch oven finalists and how you placed. And so I did get some news on Sunday, because I was curious, because my wife cooked and she wanted to know how she did. She had placed 8th and 16th there before, so she thought she would, do decently this year. And then it came back that we finished 30th. But in what we got, it said that we cooked an apple dew. And my wife was like, "We cooked bread pudding." And I said, "Well, babe, maybe it's just they misclassified it." And lo and behold, kind of behind the scenes, I know the team that was second in the Saturday results, and his dessert was called Chocolate Orgasm. And he was like, "What's going on here?" Because I talked to him later in the week, and he's like, "That's not what we cooked. We cooked a cheesecake." And so I, as I understand it, in the quote unquote auditing that they did after the results were done, they found out that there was a mistake. And so what happened is that the team that was announced second, Simon Flores he cooked for the Bull, a radio station. He actually wound up winning it. And so the results were finally posted on the Houston Rodeo Barbecue website on Thursday following the Saturday, so quite a few days in between. And as it turns out, he wound up winning. And then the team that finished first actually finished 7th in the new standings.
Oof.
And the poor team that finished 3rd, they wound up finishing 57th.
57th?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So, yes.
So second goes to first. First goes to 7th. Third goes to 57th. Holy shit.
57th.
That's,
yeah.
I mean, that's got to be the biggest error of them all. I mean, second to first, okay. Third to first to 7th. I mean, that's kind of a big drop, but 3rd to 57th, that's a punch in the mouth.
I feel badly for that team, because they have to give up the trophy, and they, took the puppy dog trophy home, and took pictures and celebrated, and then also the teams that wound up finishing 2nd and 3rd, they didn't get their moment up on the stage.
Yeah, right.
So,
wow. After the fact,
right? After the fact.
Yikes.
After the fact, and.
Well, it
was released on an ABC, the local ABC affiliate. They had a short little blurb that basically the Houston Rodeo goofed the results. So, but other than that, I really haven't seen anything else about it. And probably in their mind, they just as soon it kind of go away. But
yeah, well, I would imagine. I mean, can you imagine being that 3rd place team? You're you get back, you're taking pictures, you start game planning for next year, and you're like, man, we just need to make a few small minor tweaks to get back up into the top 3, maybe even first place. And then you realize that not only did you make some small tweaks, you pretty much need a friggin' overhaul at 57th place, right? Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. My wife was much happier with the final results because she wound up 9th, and so she was like, okay, that's much better.
You were affected too?
Yes, we went from 30th to 9th.
Yes!
And
I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Top 10.
Wow. Wow, that's insane.
It is, and so, in the blurb they said none of the other results were affected. But if I had my guesses, I think they were still using Excel spreadsheets, and there was probably a sort problem or something, just based on the format of the way the results are.
In affirmation to your wife's bread pudding recipe, I had that when you were up at the Hartville hardware thing where I met you and Dr. Barbecue for the rib contest, which,
oh, yes,
didn't go my way, really. I'm still waiting for those results to be recalculated, if you know what I mean. Nevertheless.
Call Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Call Steve Harvey or PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then maybe they'll change them.
That dessert is definitely not a 30th place dessert. So, top 10, 9th place overall, certainly a more fitting situation. So were there a lot of other people that were bottom feeders that got bumped up quite a bit too then, or no?
I didn't see the whole results. I just saw the first page, which is what we are of the initial results. So I didn't get a copy because they didn't release it to the general public. And so I don't know, kind of how all the changes were. I just, it's easy just to figure out who the top 3 were on the stage, and then how they finished in the final results. So I actually know the team that was 3rd and then wound up finishing 57th. So
yikes. All right, talk to me quickly about a new barbecue Hall of Fame that is emerging, the International Barbecue Cookers Association Hall of Fame.
Yes, they just announced this about a week ago, and they are probably going to do the first class. I don't know this for sure, but probably in the August time frame, which is when they had their annual meeting, and they're going to have a new banquet. So the requirements are you can nominate people. You can't self-nominate. You have to not be nominated by somebody else. So you have to be a member in good standing.
Okay.
You have to be competing or have provided service to the IBCA for 10 years.
10 years of successive service?
I guess service, that would also qualify, if you're a head judge and you don't compete, but you go to 30, 40 cook-offs a year and spend most of your weekends as a head judge. So I'm presuming that's the type of service that they're talking about. And then you have to, have a history of promoting the IBCA in a positive manner. So there is a category for non-members, but you have to be directly connected to the IBCA and the promotion of IBCA.
This is 10 years of, not once in 10 years, but you have to have racked up 10 years as a qualifier to start being in the conversation of IBCA Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's some of the that's one of the requirements. Either 10 years competing or combined with some service. So maybe if you were a head judge for 5 years and competing for 5 years, you would qualify.
So do you like this setup? You okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, to me, there is some guidelines. You have to be a member and the 10 years competing, et cetera. So I think that's getting most of the way in terms of instead of just opening it up and having a popularity contest sort of thing. But in the end, you would think that the cream would go to the top, and you'd be able to name 5 cookers that should immediately be in the Texas or IBCA Hall of Fame.
So does this dilute the other barbecue Hall of Fame? I mean, obviously this is specific to IBCA, but I mean, I could certainly make an argument that there's a number of IBCA cooks or cooks that cook in the IBCA that could also get put into the other barbecue Hall of Fame that's down at the American Royal that they've started here over the last couple of years. Does it dilute? Is it competing? Does it make it kind of weird now that there's going to be factions of barbecues, halls of fames-ish?
Yeah, I think it's more of the competing to a certain extent, but that's what you've got with the multiple organizations that we have throughout the U.S. So in the end, each organization could have their own Hall of Fame.
Right, could be KCBS Hall of Fame and an FBA Hall of Fame and the IBCA Hall of Fame, and then the Barbecue Hall of Fame, whatever that is.
Exactly. So
Wow.
I mean, and that was one of the when you interviewed Michael, that was kind of what he was talking about. That there's too many different factions instead of one overarching National Barbecue Cookers Association or whatever that basically is a conglomeration of all of them.
Doug, where are you going to be competing at next?
My next competition is April 1st. I'm going to be competing in New Braunfels, but I'm also going to be competing in the Traeger Meat Madness, and so I've submitted a recipe, and we'll see how that goes. They pick 64 recipes, and then they compete against each other on their website. So.
Like an NCAA bracket thing.
Yeah, and they're calling it Meat Madness.
All right, breaking down the dessert debacle at Houston Livestock Rodeo and the IBCA Barbecue Hall of Fame. He is the pitmaster of Rogue Barbecue Cookers and, more importantly, the official embedded Texas correspondent of the Barbecue Central Show, Doug Scheiding. Doug, always appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
It's Doug. Everybody knows Doug. Everybody loves Doug. I love Doug.
All guests on the BBQ Central Show appear via the Smithfield Hotline. Yummy.
So he will be in the NCAA-styled bracket for Traeger, so look for that. Vote for Doug. I mean, everything's a popularity contest now, except the IBCA. That's not a popularity. You cannot self-nominate. That puts me right out. It's fine. All right, let's talk for a few minutes about the longest-running sponsor of the show, located in Warminster, Pennsylvania, the BBQ Guru. Gang, if you've been thinking about automatic pit temperature control devices for your cooker, stop here. This is the company that started it all. They are the creators of this technology. Why are you going to buy it from anybody else? If you're not familiar with how they work, I don't get into the minutia here, but imagine a product that allows you to set your pit temperature, and once set, keeps it running at that temperature all the way through the cook. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's real life. You can take advantage of this technology today because maybe, just maybe, you're a busy working professional, or perhaps you're constantly on the run with kids, doing errands, going to volleyball tournaments, softball games. Quite frankly, you just don't have that time to sit around and tend the pit temps. We get it. The Guru allows you to throw on a pork butt, a brisket, a slab of ribs, or all of that, and you're off to do whatever it is you need to get done, and the Guru maintains that pit temperature you set it at. Here are the models right now. CyberQ Wi-Fi, blowing up like hotcakes. DigiQ DX2, most popular ever. Then you have Party Q, right? Easiest point of entry when it comes to automatic pit temperature control technology. It's a single unit, self-contained, runs on AA batteries. Can go from kettle style to bullet style to ceramic style, doesn't matter. If you're in the market for a cooker, look no further than the new revamped Onyx Oven. The Onyx Oven now winning across the country in competitions and backyards. Do yourself a favor. Head on over to bbqguru.com and check out their products. If you have any questions about what to order, call them directly. 800-288-GURU. They will make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Don't guess. When you're looking at the website, you're looking at all the stuff available. If you're not sure it's going to fit on your cooker, what size fan you need, this and that, call and ask. Again, 800-288-GURU, or visit the website bbqguru.com. The BBQ Guru is a breakthrough in barbecue technology. We're back to wrap it up. Stick around.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right. Thanks again to Doug Scheiding for joining me. Let's go ahead and get ready to wrap this bad boy up. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Meathead Goldwyn. Yeah, Meathead. Talked a little bit about corned beef and brisket and pastrami and all that good stuff. Got a little recap of Meathead in Paradise. He's going to be down at the NBBQA end of the month in Fort Worth, so if you're going to go to that, he's giving a speech on barbecue and grilling and how they're related, or the common factor that binds them all together. I have an idea. At 10:14, we talked with Travis Clark and where he's at in the competition season, amongst some other barbecue topics as well. We ended the show with Doug Scheiding from Rogue Cookers, talking about the Houston Livestock and Rodeo dessert issue. 3rd to 57. 3rd to 57. However, Doug, 30th to 9th. Yeah, baby. So good. That bread pudding is so good. All right, big show laid out already for next week. Stephen Reichlin obviously in because it's the 3rd Tuesday of the month, amongst others. September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.